So you probably didn't even hear about this, and guess what? The program just ended yesterday, and so that's why thousands of veterans could potentially be losing their homes. The program was called VASP, the Veterans Assistance Servicing Purchase. It was a program that was launched last year to help veterans who were facing foreclosure on their homes. And here's how it worked. If you were 3 to 60 months delinquent on your mortgage and nothing else worked, like not forbearance or a modification, the VA would then step in and purchase the loan from the servicing mortgage company and restructure it at a 2.5% fixed interest rate. And just for clarification, this wasn't something you could apply for. Your mortgage company basically had to just submit it back to the VA, and it was really just the last resort. So now here's the kicker. The program ended yesterday, and now over 30,000 vets are facing foreclosure on their homes. And now the critics on this are saying you took this program away without having anything to replace it. And so we'll see what Congress does, but as of right now, this program is now done. If you have any questions about the VA loan or VA process, I'm your guy. Hit that follow button and follow on for more.
All right, so VASP, that is the program, for those that don't know, that got implemented because the VA screwed up. So back during the COVID craziness, there was a program, the veterans had the ability to, if they were in a tight spot because they lost their job, whatever it is. And I see comments on this stuff all the time, like, look, if you can't afford your house, you probably shouldn't get to keep it. Well, yes and no. They actually qualified for their house. Everything was fine. Then their employer shut the doors because the government wouldn't let them operate during COVID. So why are you going to keep paying your employees? So now you lost your job. So they allowed what's called a forbearance. So the VA allowed lenders, servicers who you're making your payments to be able to add this, any missed payments to the end of your loan. So you'd get agreed to on a 12-month forbearance. I'm not going to make a payment for 12 months while I go find another job, put some money back in my pocket, all of those things. Those 12 months get added to the end. Well, that was great until there was an expiration date on that ability to do that for these servicers. So the VA pulls the plug on it, and it just blows me away, Clay. The writing is so on the wall. I mean, what's going to happen for anybody who's in the process? And the writing's on the wall, and the VA didn't see it, and they pulled the plug on that program, which eliminated the ability for servicers, mortgage servicers who you make your payment to. It eliminated that ability for them to add those missed payments to the end of the loan. There was no grandfathered in clause or anything. It's you either already did it or you didn't. And that left tens of thousands of veterans really in a very, very bad spot. And there was this time period of it's probably almost 6 months where the VA had nothing to help these people with. So they created VASP. VASP was, I guess, a good idea. I would have just reopened up the ability for servicers to work with lenders to able to have them add those payments back to the end of their loan. Just reopen that up, and put some additional language in there. But instead, they created VASP. VASP is essentially, it was the last kind of resort or tool in the toolkit for veterans that were facing foreclosure. It allowed the VA to purchase that loan from the servicer, and then service it themselves. So now you would make your payment to the VA at a 2.5% interest rate, which is just unbelievable in today's market. And it was the VA's way of trying to, okay, that was kind of the going rate then. So let's just kind of move you back into that. But now the VA is saying, well, this was a stupid idea because we're not a lender. We're not a servicer. We're not supposed to be, we're not going to create a big department of processing payments and, issue. What happens if you're late on that? Well, you got to call somebody. Who are you going to call? The VA. Well, now you got to call the VA and talk with somebody who's a loan person there. And it's too much for the VA to deal with, I guess. So now they are ending this program, again, pulling the plug. And in my opinion, Clay, without a solid fallback as of yet. There's some ideas floating around. There's some legislation floating around, but there's nothing concrete. So now anybody who's currently in foreclosure, going through that process, this option's getting pulled away, leaving you with who knows. And hopefully the VA will figure this out quickly. I will throw out just to kind of double tap on the David Piatek thing, who we've had on this channel. We've had him on our personal channels as well. He is a solid resource to bounce ideas off as well. If you are in any sort of a circumstance, have a conversation with him, and he might be able to guide you down a path. He is definitely the mortgage subject matter expert, so utilize him. Back to you, Clay.
Yeah, my fear, I'm going to go at a different angle and then I'll read